Sublime magnificence. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari Ellis Fayo Gafande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runner-mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thank you for having me back as always. Love being here, love doing this thing, love trading these movies back and forth. One guy has seen it, the other guy hasn't. Usually it's movies, this time it's movies. Usually it's action movies, this time it's an action movie. Sometimes it's even Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. This time it's a Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie. Uh,
Oh,
we we have Mission Impossible on the show this week. We have covered Mission Impossible once before because we watched Mission Impossible Fallout, which is
yes.
the sixth in the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible series. Um, Eight is about ready to come out in theaters here soon. So I thought seemed like the perfect little hole that I've created for ourselves to fill it with number seven.
All right, that is right. We are watching Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Dead Reckoning Part 1. Ethan Hunt and his MIF team must track down a dangerous weapon before it falls into the wrong hands. The plot of every Mission Impossible. It is directed this time once again by Christopher McQuarrie. It is written by Bruce Geller, Christopher McQuarrie, and Eric Jenderson, and it stars Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, as well as who's your guy there? Who's your guy there? Simon Pegg.
Yes, I'm about to say Hot Fuzz, and the Dead.
As well as Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Palm Clementif, Isaiah Morales, all kinds of actors here. Omari. First, let's do quick. What do you remember about Mission Impossible Fallout? What was your thoughts on it
I remember
when we
enjoying Mission
watched that one?
Impossible Fallout. It was a lot more fast paced than I thought the Mission Impossible movies would be, given that it's spies and stuff like that. But lots of action and stuff. There was the thing we talked about before and afterwards, Superman reloading his arms, Tom Cruise jumping across the street and breaking his ankle because he apparently wanted to do it, as we in our discussion, when he wanted to do it 5 times. Like, I remember that these movies are just Tom Cruise doing crazy stunts.
Hmm.
And that my friends had a thing where it was where they nicknamed the series Tom Cruise Tries to End Himself, number whatever, because of how crazy he goes for these movies. So I liked it because, one, he doesn't succeed in ending himself, so that's good. And two, the movies they're entertaining. They're exactly what they sound like, and like you went with the plot for every Mission Impossible movie. It's like, yeah, it sounds like your cookie cutter. Like, this
There's a
is
MacGuffin. Ethan, we need you to get that MacGuffin. Oh, there's this bad guy that also wants the MacGuffin. Bad guy has the MacGuffin, Ethan. Figure it out. Maybe about 50% of the time it's Ethan, we think you have the MacGuffin, thus you're a traitor to the United
yeah.
States.
Also, you'll be accused of treason during the course of this at some point.
Yeah.
So there was that, and so I kind of knew that at least one of these movies, if not a lot of them, would have that whole thing going where it's okay, and now after serving your country, the biggest enemy to the country is you. You must die. So I had that little bit of expected, but at the same time, people complain about things being cookie cutter, but they still eat cookies, don't you?
Cookies are delicious.
Exactly. And so I was ready for another plate of delicious cookies when it came to this movie. I hadn't seen many Mission Impossibles. In fact, the only one I can remember seeing all the way through was Fallout. So, hey, why not? I don't really have they're not making it like the old ones
Okay, is there
nostalgia.
any reason why, after enjoying Fallout, you
Uh,
didn't follow up
time.
with any of the six other available options?
Time.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was one of those
It's the
things where
reason
I'm
why we
like,
have this show. I mean, sometimes it's just like you just don't do it.
yeah, it's just like, you know what? I'll get around to it, but then just didn't get around to it. And then this came up. I was like, oh, that sounds like it'll be fun. And, you know, it might have been. Now, I believe you
All
have a
right.
lot more of a history with Mission Impossible than I do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which I'm sure I went into in our Fallout episode. I've seen every Mission Impossible, and enjoyed every there's basically three versions of Mission Impossible.
Hmm.
Um, m Maybe you could break it down into a granular level that there's five versions of Mission Impossible. There's the original one, which is completely different from everything else that followed it. There's the second one, which is, I believe, a John Woo film, and so it's very much a John Woo film. Then we have a big gap, and then
And then Tom Cruise brought it back.
J.J. Abrams, and with Tom Cruise in much more of a controlling, guided
Hmm.
hand role, brought it back, and that's kind of from three forward is really where Tom Cruise is saying this is more of an action film now. I'm gonna do these crazy. That's kind of where the I'm gonna do these crazy stunts thing is really, really starting to pop off. Um, and then you have the most recent era of this Christopher McQuarrie era, that is about kind of what you said of just like really hyper, high paced, set piece to set piece. Like it's kind of like his themes are like globe trot. We're gonna go to five different parts of the globe in like six
Yeah.
scenes. Um, and it's gonna happen real fast, and extended action sequences across multiple set
Yeah.
pieces, I think is another staple of the Christopher McQuarrie era. But yeah, I'm a big Mission Impossible fan. Mission Impossible greater than James Bond, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
I think that's fair to say.
at least if you at least want to look at the contemporaries, that's what's been happening. Like I would say that the early Tom Cruises are better than the Pierce Brosnan and James Bonds, and then the recent Mission Impossibles for me are better than the Daniel Craig Bonds, which I know a lot of people love and respect.
Yeah,
Um,
I liked them both better than Casino Royale, and I was someone who left Casino Royale's theater being satisfied.
which
But I
yeah,
will say I
I
like
know a
these
lot of
better than it.
I know a lot of Bond heads that are going to put Casino Royale at top three, if not their favorite Bond film of all time. So I think yeah, not to be a hater,
I will.
I you don't have to cast a shadow in order to shine a light. Um, so yeah, I'm a big Mission Impossible fan.
All right. Well, with that, I guess we'll go ahead and
Maybe
get
this
into.
won't be the last one we talk about.
Hmm. I
There's
think I think there might
there's
have been.
five more to go at this
I'm about to
point.
say, I think there might have been a similar tease in the other one, which might have also been a reason that it was like, all right, well, that leaves us with a source of content going down the road. Kind of like our man JCVD. We can always go back to one of his things because it's like, uh-huh.
It's
But
it's it's really kind of been a continuous story since three.
yeah,
There has been the continual through line since
yeah,
since
yeah.
three.
Not to give away my impression of the movie or anything, but I kind of wanted to. I had more of a want to go back and watch the through line as I watched this one.
Hmm.
I will say that. But yeah, we
Mostly having the through line mostly centers around the women around Ethan Hunt's life.
which yeah, I
That
kind of
that's
picked
kind of
up
where
on
the
that
through
vibe.
line between movies usually lives. It's past like it's passed from woman to woman doing like a three movie arc each time.
Yeah, I can see that. Um, yeah, so that's it. We get into the movie, and we start with this Russian submarine, and these
Yeah, this
guys.
interesting like kind of Cold War era vibe, Hunt for Red October, Russia tank scene,
Yeah.
Russia
And
missile scene.
they're just talking shit on everybody else, talking about how great they are. Yeah. Sorry. They're talking great about how great they are. And they're all, we're the best submarine that ever exist. We are completely invisible. No one can ever track us. Sir, we've been tracked. Like immediately. Immediately it does that. They have this whole scene with dodging the sonar, and I'm like, okay, now we got our spy stuff going on here. And
We've
then
already seen the weird glowy mm, digital screen saver
we start seeing
thing.
that in one of the rooms while they're doing this. We see the
Um,
glowy screensaver thing
just
happening.
gotta point out that it is 2023.
Okay.
Production for this movie, probably started in like 2021 for
Yeah.
how expensive these fucking movies are now and how much pre-planning and travel time and all that shit to think about. So maybe 2021, if not earlier. AI is definitely a thing, but wow, what a thing to step into as the main villain of your film in
Yeah.
2023 into now 2025 for the part two of the film,
And
um
being AI related. Hey, it's
being AI related.
I will
Like, wow,
always
what
say
what perfect timing.
indeed. But I've always been one of those people that's like every story about AI is a story about why we should not have it. So I don't understand why we want it so much in real life. Um, but
It's a really interesting commentary on how self-recognizing we are as people, or at least how self-recognizing our artists are for our culture,
mm,
where we we think of the fictional idea of creating a supercomputer with strong enough components to where it begins to think on its own, and it becomes sentient. Um, and we automatically assume that the first thing that it's going to realize is that for the sake of the planet, it has to kill humans. And everybody goes there
yes.
because
But
everybody knows that that's the truth.
yes. I've stated it before. The humans are the worst thing to happen to this planet. That said, I'm human, so I'm fine with us staying here. Sorry, planet. Deal with it.
Yeah, at least for another like 40 years.
Oh yeah, nuclear mutually assured destruction is going to happen in our lifetime, and that'll
No,
be
I
the end
need
of
I
our
need like
lifetime.
40 years. I don't think that's my lifetime.
I mean,
That'll put me in my 80s.
you're
I think
only in
I'm
your
good in my
30s.
80s. Well, yeah, I was just rounding up to 40.
Ah, fair. Oh, that's fair. I didn't think about that. But the bottom line is, yeah, the Russian submarine, they get hacked to attack their own vessel. And we see the, glowy, warbling thing like you talked about. And we're like, all right, well, damn, that's, this. Meanwhile, we get to Ethan Hunt. I didn't know he was a former criminal. I just thought he was a spy that's just been like, the best American spy, but they have their little expositionary thing where it's like, you did all these crimes and your government didn't forget. We can still put you in jail at any minute unless you do this mission. So, should you choose to accept
Well,
the
I
mission?
mean, technically, the
Da, da,
movie
da, da,
that
da.
you watched, he did a bunch of crimes. That's kind of what they're referring to, I think. It's not so much
Oh,
necessarily pre-IMF days. It's more just like for your job as an IMF person, you've committed so many fucking crimes technically that we could say that you've done that we've kind of blanketed because you're doing a job.
Fair,
Uh,
but when he had his conversation with the old girl later on about the choice, he's like, "Yeah, you're a thief and you've done all this stuff with illegal passports and stuff, but that won't go away unless you make the choice and choose to accept." So I thought that's just so that led me to believe everybody involved with the IMF was a former criminal that they just decided to blackmail into working for the US government.
maybe, maybe. I feel like that would be new to the canon.
Fair.
I took that more as them just kind of giving her a rah-rah speech
Yeah.
of
But
just like we've all been like not necessarily we've been international criminals before, but we've all been at this moment
where
where
we had a
it's
choice to make.
either we're going to join this group that saves the world constantly, but it forever alters our lives, or we choose to not do it, kind of
Yeah.
thing, is more the choice that I was thinking about there. But it could be that one.
Yeah, but
I'm
like
not fully sure on it. I'm not 100%. I
you
always
have the other five movies to build off of with what
But
these
I don't know
characters are
if it's
saying.
directly been told to me, other than maybe like sometimes in the expositions of the beginning of films, maybe his mugshot has been, or a general image of him has been thrown up on a digital screen while somebody's
Hmm.
like, "That's Ethan Hunt. He's got blah 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 blah." Um, uh, it gun to my head before this conversation, I would have said he was like a out of high school Army Ranger, kept getting promoted, that kind
See,
of
that's
story.
that's how I would have assumed that Ethan Hunt went. But that's what I'm just saying. Like the dialogue kind of confused me there. But yeah, he we get the thing, we find out we're fighting an AI, and while they're given this exposition in the military base about this AI, we clearly see a dude walk in who looks suspicious as all hell. And I'm like, why is nobody noticing this dude? He's clearly evil. He's just looking around like, what? You said something important. Zoom in on my face while I look
Yeah, he's
psycho.
got a hard evil face. He has he has I'm a villain face.
Yeah, I'm like, guys, a spy has infiltrated you. He's going to kill you all. Then he does the gas attack, and it's like, oh, okay, that's Ethan. All right, that's okay. It makes a bit more sense why they ignore him because he's the best. Um, but yeah, I did like that whole little opening scene and him like
This
talking
is
to
like
dude.
that's kind of the Christopher McQuarrie touch, I feel like,
Hmm.
is I mean, we end up getting a lot more movie. Some may argue that that makes it more convoluted kind of thing. Um, but this would have been a moment in like movie one, two, even three, possibly. This would have been a moment much deeper into the film, and we would have seen him talking about the head of intelligence, talking about the assistant that they could get a hold of. Maybe they'd even show us
Yeah,
doing the tracking, kidnapping of the assistant, making the mask, putting on the mask, getting into position. I feel like this is more of a touch of the Christopher McQuarrie, where it's just kind of
yeah.
that
You
we're jumping to the important part. Whether
you've
you
seen
know it's
him do
Ethan
this
Hunt,
six
or
points
whether
before.
you or whether
Yeah,
you learn when the mask is pulled off. Either
doesn't
way, I'm
really
fine with
matter.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter for this particular scene. It's like, okay, yes, you've
Yeah.
seen it six movies before. You know this is what he do. He has the technology and he's gonna use it. He's the best. But yeah, we get the opening, and I'm like, oh shit, the opening credits are happening now. I thought we just kind of skipped over. I'd forgotten that we saw it. I'd forgotten that they hadn't played yet. Um, but yeah, we get to the thing early on where they the chick is alive. there's some chick that I thought was dead, but I'm like, I like they tell us this chick is alive very early on. I forget who it
Rebecca
is.
Ferguson, who I think this is maybe like she is maybe died
Oh, East
three
Ilsa.
three
Yeah,
times. Yeah.
because he finds her with the bounty
She's
hunters.
from Fallout.
Yes, she's Ilsa from Fire Hunt. I only put I like they tell us chick is alive, and I was like, I'm trying to think about Grace, but I'm like, no, Ilsa because of the mercenaries and him going there and then trying to like lead the whole mystery of whether or not she's dead. But they tell us the viewers, no, she's alive. Don't worry, she's not. She's not fake out dead. She's not dead, guys.
They just want the governments to think she's dead.
Exactly. So I did like that. I'm like, okay, you didn't hold that over our head.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I feel like I feel like one, you can't do that because of what happens later. And then two, I think as her character in now maybe her third or fourth Mission Impossible, I'm not I'm not too brushed up on 4 and 5. I really need it's been a really long time since I've watched 4 and 5. Maybe I've only seen those once or twice back when they first came out. Um, I'm more of a 1, 2, 3 guy, and then Fallout I've now watched a bunch of times because we ended up covering it. Uh, Plus my original watches. Um, so I'm not positive when Rebecca joined. If it was five or four. Um, but I think she has had several death fake outs at this point. Like we're on the like, all right, guys, you can't do
yeah.
this anymore kind of thing. So I don't know if that's maybe why they reveal that so fast.
Probably. But yeah, speaking of like how the movie moves fast, dude gets the information from Kissinger or whatever his name is, and then he goes immediately to, hey, get the gang together. We're going to the airport. We're going to get half this key from the dude. They need a key to stop this AI, but we don't know what the key does. It has two halves, and that's our MacGuffin for the movie. Get the two halves together. Also find out what it does to against this AI because people want it because it's an AI that can tell you anything about anybody at any
I think
government throughout the world.
the strong rumor is that the key controls the entity.
Yeah.
With the key, you could end up controlling the entity.
But you still don't they don't really go into how or what you need to do with said
Right.
key to control it. So yeah, like you said. But they immediately are like at an airport tracking down the key ready to buy. I thought we were gonna build up to that. No. We're here. We got this going. I thought it was funny with the army people getting ready to attack him, trying to tell the boogeyman story about Ethan Hunt. And he's like, what we have is a mind-reading, shape-shifting instrument of chaos. I'm like, well, damn. Okay. I mean, kind of. But
A little bit.
yeah, they go through the airport. You have the whole scenes where we meet Grace as a pickpocket and stuff, which for a bunch of super spies, these people all in this movie get pickpocketed super easy. Like
Well, they're the best. They're
but
the
you
best pickpocketers.
they're the best pickpocketers, but you would feel like there's a little of knowing the game.
Yeah, stop putting important stuff into loose pockets.
Like the second I bump into anybody whatsoever, stop right there, motherfucker. What you got?
Like, stop keeping stuff in your suit pockets. You should know this by now,
Yeah.
Ethan. Like, there's that little tiny pocket. Put it in that little tiny pocket that none of us use. Sometimes I put a quarter in there just to make me feel like I'm using it. It's
You're
like
so right
perfect
about
quarter
that.
size.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put something in there. But no, we get to meet her and she's doing
It's
her
key
own thing.
shaped. Wear some jeans and put it in that little pocket. Nobody wears blue jeans in Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, early on I thought like at least during the airport thing, because at first she seemed like she was just someone that happened to happen on this circumstance, like Ethan was making it sound like. But the
Hmm.
more the scene played on, I'm like, I think she's part of the villain army or the villain side of this. especially when the fake bomb gets found, but we don't know it's fake. I thought it was cool with the whole. Well, cool may be a strong word, but I liked the fact that the bomb had the whole "you are done" thing,
Hmm.
and it's like you are done. Oh, that's just trying to intimidate you. No, it's spelling my last name. It knows that I would be the one to open the damn bomb. Now, when I see that, if I see that a bomb has my literal name on it, I'm already like, okay, way over my head. This person knew to a T that not only would we track the bomb people down here, but I specifically would leave the room to come downstairs and find this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, these people know you guys too well. You need to get out of
Well,
here.
at this point, they already know that it's not even people, that it's the AI engine, that it's the entity that they're fighting, because they've already been trying to hack it and hack it back and forth and stuff like that. So Luther knows that this is like some ungodly level, like, and they it's already, I don't remember how, but it's already expressed like we're somebody has already told Ethan like this thing's gonna know your moves before you do them, like
Mm,
you're fighting something you've never fought before, kind of thing.
yeah,
uh I think it was the director of intelligence kind of dude or
yeah.
whatever. um but yeah, that I also, first time I saw this, I had Grace pegged to be the person revealed to be secretly, like the AI engine had told her you're gonna need to do this and this and this and this and this
Mm.
and then this will happen for you, or something, and she was just playing that long game. Spoilers for the end of the movie. I still don't know if we're wrong. We're still not wrong.
That's fair. That's a fair way to look at it. But yeah, the bomb ends up being fake after having all that stuff happen, which crazy. But at the same time, when they had that nuclear level thing pop up, I'm like, wait, it was a nuclear level bomb set to blow up in 5 minutes? What? It didn't matter what plane it gets on at that point. It's a
I love
nuke.
that was the exact same final climax of the movie, of the last movie that we just watched, was Simon Pegg and Luther staring at a nuclear warhead that would have blown up the town that they were in. And now we're doing that, uh,
Like 12 minutes into the
not
movie.
even a third, like a quarter of the way into the movie.
The whole escalation that just comes with sequels. But yeah, so we get the whole fake bomb. We had the whole them trying to, and she kept like taking the thing, like, don't hate me, I'm gonna take it anyway. Whoop. You just said don't do this, and I'm gonna do something
Yeah.
completely
I mean,
stupid.
there's a reason why we think she's secretly the villain, because her actions are constantly getting in Ethan Hunt's way. They're constantly making, like, they lose 90% of this movie. They
Yeah,
lose 90% of this movie. You could say the only thing successful, I mean, jumping, like, going through jumping around obviously for this statement, but the only thing that they are successful in, I think throughout the entirety of the movie, as far as plan wise, is Ethan leaves with the key and he doesn't kill
Gabriel.
Gabriel,
Yeah,
which were his two main objectives that Luther told him that he should accomplish, that he should
yeah,
try to do. Um, Everything else in this movie they fail at, and most of the time it's her fault.
yeah. Yeah, because they get it like at the airport.
Like,
She
she is
just,
beautiful. Haley Atwell, the actress, is beautiful. She's doing a great job as the character. But the character is very frustrating at times because of because you know that Ethan Hunt's the good guy.
yeah,
You have to suspend your disbelief and 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 pretend like Grace doesn't know who to trust, doesn't know who's actually out to help her. And she is just a international criminal at this point. Who knows what her moral package is? Um, but yeah, it's. So frustrating at times.
Yep. I did think it was funny that, we got to get a Tom Cruise running, and we had him running on the roof of the airport trying to get to the plane or whatever that the dude ended up taking off on it, or was supposed to get up taking off on.
We got a couple of good sprint, just straight up sprint moments out of Tom in this one.
Running through the city later on.
One of the promo packages for this one that's coming out here very soon is just a little behind the scenes thing of the director being like, well, we like it's not a Mission Impossible movie without a mission without a good sprint.
Yeah.
And so then they're talking about like the landmarks that they were able to like the crazy places that they were able to do the sprint for this film.
That man be running in all his fucking films. I still remember fucking Collateral. Even that had him chasing Jamie Foxx on foot at one point. He loves the way his form looks when he sprints, and he's like, I'm showing it to everybody every fucking film.
Well, I think I've heard somebody say is that like the reason why especially like obviously it's he's very particular about he's a very rigid formed runner, and so
Mhm.
it looks odd in that way. Not odd, that special kind of odd. Um but nobody else like full sprints. Yeah, I think I've seen somebody talk about is like everything else that you're seeing somebody running, they're running either from like at like 30% capacity to like maybe 60% capacity. And Tom Cruise is like running as hard as he humanly can. Like he is gassing himself out every single time. So it looks weird because you never see anybody just dead sprinting
Yeah,
on in a film like that.
that is true. But yeah, so we go for it a little bit, and we find out that she got on a plane and she went to Venice or whatever. Um, and we meet our villain just after like the military catch up because they know that Ethan's gonna find her because he's pretending to be a lawyer and doing all his things. But the villain shows up to interrogate the police officer, and he gives one of those like little speeches of, "You don't know about the greater good of what's going on, but this is why my evil plan should be the one, and I'm gonna stab you in the hand, bitch." Just like, well, damn. All right, nice to meet you, villain guy. Um, I do like how quickly we were able to identify him because they were like, yeah, he's literally working with the AI entities somehow, and it's literally actively erasing him from all footage, but it didn't manage to catch like the one reflection of him sitting down at a table. And so we were able to actively figure out who he was. And it wasn't like a long time before we figured out who this dude is. But
And he was I want to say he was a big villain of
Gabriel. But yeah, Gabriel's here. And we get away from the police station by stealing police vehicles because what's her name still, even though he's like trying to help her get away from the cops, she like screams in public to make it seem like he's assaulting her so that she can get away. And she's like, sorry, I don't trust you. And then she goes out, immediately steals a police car, and then he steals a police motorcycle to chase her. And they start driving around the city because we got to have our car chase. So
and
we
it's a big one on this movie.
it's like a it's like a three-part car chase. The first one with the police vehicles and a lot of crashing going on. Then these random French people show up with the chick who I guess they eventually referred to as Paris. They show up and blow up a car that leads to like car chase part two, where now they're handcuffed and trying to drive with Tom Cruise driving.
Looks to be about 14 minutes. I got
Yeah.
it here in front of me. It's about a 14-minute car chase.
Yeah. They have all that, and then they get to part three where it's in the Fiat. And it's like, damn, this is a long ass car chase, but hey, we're doing the damn thing, I suppose. But eventually we find out, like, okay, one of the buyers is alleged to be, because what's her name gets out of there eventually. She gets out of the cuffs and cuffs Tom Cruise to the car, and she runs away because she keeps getting away from Tom Cruise, despite how easily or how great he is. She's very great at getting away from him after screwing him over. So, like you said, she very well may be evil. Um, but she goes to where we're gonna meet the buyer. We go to a club where the White Widow, lol, um, was gonna be there. I just find it funny to call her White Widow.
Soon to be Sue Storm.
Oh,
She's gonna be Sue Storm. So she's gonna be known as Sue Storm for a minute.
fair enough.
Yeah, that's
Um,
Vanessa Kirby.
Okay. I did like Luther's line, like, hey, you're trying to play 4D chess with an algorithm. Like, I don't think you understand what we're dealing with. Like he said, I think he says that around that point where they like already failed at the airport and this other thing. He's like, hey, if
Yeah.
we keep going,
At some point, Gabriel says something like, "There's like I'm working for 54,000 computations every millisecond,"
yeah.
and like, okay, okay, bro.
And it's like every possibility is seen. I know exactly how this is gonna play out. I'm going to get this tomorrow because I'm gonna do this. Make a choice. Wait, what? Yeah, they get the standoff at the club where he kind of does that kind of whole reveal where he's like, either Ilsa's gonna die because she shows up to be like, "Hey, I'm not dead, Ethan," and even though you told me to stay dead, quote unquote, I'm here to
I'm here
help.
to help.
Yep. So we get to the club, and yeah, Grace is there, but so is Ilsa, and so
Gabriel's kind of a boss in this scene. Like, yeah, when he's like, I don't really care. Tomorrow, it's gonna be laid at my feet. Bye.
yeah, and you're just gonna have to choose which one dies. But because one of them dies tonight, that's what's gonna happen. Well, fuck, nah, we're getting out of here. This is Ethan Hunt, homie. Ain't nobody dying if he can deal with it. But yeah, he couldn't deal with it. We get the chase throughout the series. We have the alleyway fight, which was cool in and of itself after the whole action scene with them escaping from the club. And while we
Our
have
next
the
segment of Tom Cruise run scene,
yeah,
broken up with that alley fight, but
yeah.
we get a lot of
Yeah, I like the alleyway fight. I like the bridge fight. I like Ilsa showing up with the fucking sword, like a cane sword of all weapons, to
yeah.
fight dude on the bridge. But once I saw her start fighting him, I kind of figured how that fight was gonna end, because Tom Cruise is running his ass off trying to make it there, but like he's not gonna make it in time. We have a movie to continue.
She puts in a really good effort. Like that's
She
a really
does.
it's a dope fight scene for
Yeah.
her.
I
Um,
wanted her to win because she is doing such a good job, and it is a dope effort.
Same with Palm Clementif, Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. Um,
Oh, is that who Paris is?
yeah,
That's why she looks familiar.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, obviously, a lot of makeup is Mantis, but yeah, I feel like she does a really good job in that alleyway scene
Hmm.
with Tom and that other other faceless henchman.
That no one cares about. I'll save your life. I don't really care about this other dude though, but I'll spare you. Um, but yeah, dude kills Ilsa. It's sad, but he gets away like he said he would. And once again, we don't have both halves of the key because White Widow, I believe, has one half, and we have our half. So we decide, you know what? We're gonna get on this train. Because easily, dude could be wrong. We can let dude be wrong. Let him get on that train tomorrow where the buyer's supposed to be. They have nothing. And then their plan is kind of ruined. But no. We need their plan to look like it's going to succeed because we still don't know what the key unlocks. And we weren't able to catch anybody that could tell us. So we gotta put the key in danger to be caught. All right, but it's okay. We're gonna Mission Impossible this shit. I'm gonna have a fake face. You gonna have a fake face. Also, it's time for you to make that choice we alluded to earlier. But we're gonna have fake faces together. We're gonna beat them up, take their faces, pretend to be them, get the key. Mission possible. And she's like,
Also, that reminds me, I feel like it's a trend for the modern era films where they will have somebody spell it out to another character who's unfamiliar, point blank, and they'll acknowledge the goofiness of it. I enjoy those scenes. I could see them being not what some hardcore action head fan of this film is gonna be looking for. Kind of same with the little comedy beats that may happen during the car chase scene with
yeah,
Tom and Haley Atwell. There's a few moments there. I enjoy them, but it's not really Mission Impossible kind of, and those maybe stretch the line a little bit, but the other ones, the ones where it's just like, it's an IMF. What does that stand for?
impossible
Impossible
mission
Mission
force.
Force. And then somebody is like, that sounds like a stupid fucking name. Are you kidding? Sounds like a 10-year-old name that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
that's
he's
what
like, so
hey,
wait, you
that's what
have a
they are.
guy that no one's allowed to know who it is that just does these missions for you? Should he choose to accept them?
Yeah, he gets to choose. He has a choice in the matter.
And we're
He
just
always
supposed
accepts
to,
them though.
yeah, and we're supposed to trust this guy? Yeah, if I'm just now hearing about this and I'm like the head of the CIA, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? We can't even know about it? That's right. Okay. I don't trust it. But anyway, we get them talking about it. I'm gonna have a fake face. You gonna have a fake face. It's gonna go perfectly. We were only able to make one of the fake faces because the machine broke mysteriously. All right. Oh, that sucks. Well, I'm gonna get on the train somehow. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, Luther's like, look, this thing is hacked into all computers on the world and every satellite possible. I cannot help you without being completely analog and offline. I'm gonna go and disappear off the grid for a bit. You on your own. And we get that speech you talked about where Luther tells him not to kill Gabriel and to do this. And I kind of liked his delivery. I liked Ving's performance in that scene
Hmm.
when he did that. Then we see fucking
It's kind of become his role is like when somebody needs to get real with Ethan. He's like,
mm.
Ethan, let me get real with you for a second. This shit's crazy and we're all gonna die and the world is gonna explode unless you do this. You are the man. I'm gonna go hide.
Yeah. And when we get to the next day, what's her name's getting on the train? We see that Gabriel's on the train. He's in some fucking DOS coffin that for whatever reason they just snuck him onto the train and he comes in. What's that about? No idea. We're just moving on, I guess, because they don't really dwell on it. But Gabriel comes out on the train. Um, Old girl actually gets the drop on White Widow, and her White Widow's henchman dude. What a failure that guy is of a henchman. Don't bother me till the meeting. Goes in the room. 10 seconds into her being in the room, you hear a lot of like rumbling. 2 seconds, you go knock knock. Is everything okay? She comes out the door behind you in a different outfit, and you're like, you do notice she changed, but you just take her comment of, and you never will. And she kept walking, and you're like, oh, what? What does that have to do with anything? You were in there like 25 seconds. Not even like you just put a shirt on, like or a blazer on over your shirt. You were wearing all white, and now you're wearing all gray. Like, you changed your entire outfit. But okay, sure, we'll go with it. So she goes to meet Kissinger or whatever his name is. Uh, and they have their little awkward conversation. And we have the classic fake out of "You're not who I'm here to see." I remember when you were about the ain't big. Ah, I'm just pulling your leg. How you doing? Type shit. And it's like, yes, that is what you meant. Yes, Paris.
We
That is
know
what had
each other.
happened. All right. But yeah, we have the scene, little thing, the key works, cool, and she tries to get some extra immunity for herself as well.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming she at first was putting all the money into her own file instead of the White Rabbits. And then she's like, I feel like I'd be selling my soul as well as this. But I'm like, you could have just put the money into the blockchain and just kept the key as well. You could have that and $100 million.
Yeah. You could still I like, hey, I'm still trying to save the world, but I'm taking that 100 million.
Yeah.
That 100 million is mine. Don't get it twisted.
And it's through a
Like,
crypto blockchain thing.
yeah. I'm still putting in all efforts I can to save the world because I live in the world and I want to spend my new hundred million dollars.
$100 million. Exactly. So, but she does has her whole moral victory moment. Meanwhile, Ethan's not on the train because he missed the train because the algorithm lied to him about when the train would disappear and shit. So he's like, oh, not disappear, but depart. And so we have to get our Tom Cruise moment of the movie where to get on the train, he must parachute from the top of a mountain that he must jump off of with his motorcycle. Because, of course, that is how it works. What I do like is the silliness of Tom Cruise questioning the danger and possibility of any stunt whatsoever, given everything this man has done. But even Ethan Hunt's like, you want me to jump off of a mountain on a motorcycle? What the? I can't jump off a mountain onto it. Well, that's the only way you're getting down there. I got to get off this mountain. So I'm gonna drive up even higher, jump off, dive bomb the train. And sure enough, right when she tried to walk away and everything, the White Widow wakes up, plan starts going awry. And right before, and meanwhile, the government's there too because they're expecting Ethan to be there. They didn't know Kissinger was there, and they're like, "Wait, you're here, sir?" "No, I'm not." "Okay, if you say so." Anyway, let's go chase her down. And right before they get to her, fucking through the goddamn window comes Ethan. Perfect landing, as perfect a landing as you could when you're parachuting from a mountain into a fucking train. And you drop kick the guy because he gave her this big "I'll always be there for you" type speech earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, your life will matter more than my own. Just know I will show up on that train to protect you. And sure enough, shows up, protects her, takes his parachute off, and now we got a runaway train and the big like climax of the movie,
Yeah.
which
Meanwhile, Paris had been stabbed.
parrot. Oh yeah.
I think you might have mentioned that. I'm not sure. Uh,
Meanwhile, Garrett, no, I hadn't, but yeah, meanwhile, Gabriel finds out what the key goes to and where, and then he tells Paris that she'll betray him and he stabs her because he's like, yeah, you're going to tell Ethan what's happening because he saved your life or he spared your life, so you're going to betray us. And so I'm going to betray you first, but not make sure you're dead. Villains.
Villains, man.
You guys are right half the time when you say this, but you don't ever actually do anything
Well,
about it.
they want artful deaths. And artful deaths involve like a stab to the gut where you just leave the knife there and you walk away. Or dangling them
You know what he did to the
precariously
other
over
guy?
sharks and walking away.
You know what
You
he
never
did to
want to
the
look
other
at it.
guy that
You
knew the
need to see
secret
it.
for sure? He slit his fucking throat. He slit his throat and let him die in a puddle of his own blood. Do the same to her. Like,
Yeah,
be just as ruthless. Um, and you're supposed to be a super spy that even Ethan has problems with. You made him the man he is today. Do be better. But that said, now we got Gabriel trying to fight him, and they decide to fight on top of the train while it's
naturally,
moving.
as one
And
does.
what's her name has to go up to the front to try to stop it.
They also have full conversations on top of this train, which is totally possible, I'm sure.
Yep, the classic conversations in areas where you shouldn't be able to have
Um,
conversations.
you'd
What?
you'd obviously know as a big Mission Impossible head that the going through the tunnel is a big callback sequence to the original Mission Impossible movie.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I did not, but fair. They weren't going to, I didn't want to talk about them going through the tunnel because, okay, you guys are in a very tight tunnel that you can barely like move and you got to move side to side to dodge the lights to die. But you guys are still trying to crawl to each other and fight. Guys, just wait till you get out the fucking tunnel. It ain't that fucking serious. It's like you're probably gonna die to the environment as it is. You had a higher chance of your enemy dying to the environment and you living than you do if you crawl over and actively fight them. Just wait till the fucking thing gets out of the tunnel. But they don't, and Tom Cruise barely, hangs on to the side after getting knocked off. But they make it out the tunnel. Tom Cruise eventually wins, gets the knife. We get the deciding factor, should he stab Gabriel? Because Gabriel managed to get the key because the key dropped on the floor around where his feet were when Tom Cruise came flying through the window, drop kicking a dude. Um, and so Tom Cruise and him fight. He's ready to stab him. He decides not to do so because he needs to know, where the Spetsnaz is or whatever the name of the submarine. And they're like, no, don't stab him. And so he doesn't. The government lets Gabriel get away because they care more about stopping Tom Cruise because of the whole nature of Mission Impossible movies is he's got to be accused of treason at some point, from what I can tell. And so Gabriel escapes, and it's like, well, fuck. And then Tom Cruise reveals, but I stole the key from him. Okay, you stole the key from him. Cool. And then but can't be done. Why would we be done? We need one more moment of tension. Blow up the bridge. So we blow up the bridge, and then we have the final like little train escape sequence where they're like climbing up the seemingly endless amount of train cars that keep being dragged off the edge, one after the other's like, damn, these holy shit, stop. Then eventually they're saved by Paris on the last one. Don't even show how she manages to pull them up. They just show it fall and they're like, yeah, they're up here now. Don't worry.
Yeah, it just time skips.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, team. We did it.
Giant open abdominal wound. She was able to pull up a full-grown man. Sure.
And then she admits to them where the Spetsnaz is and all of that. Like, okay, you can go get it. This is submarine, and now I'm dying. And it's like, well, now we got no reason to have left Gabriel alive because we got the location of the key anyway. So now we just got this evil Ethan Hunt out here on the run.
Pissed that he just got pickpocketed.
Yeah, and the dramatic Ethan yell because I don't sure Zoom muted it, but yeah.
hmm
Um, it was like okay, that's
hmm
hilarious. But yeah, we know at least where the submarine is. Tom Cruise tries to get off the train, but he realizes the parachute can only hold him. And then she said something that made me forget what the plan was for a second. She's like, "This was always part of the plan. Go." And I'm like, "Oh, she ready to die?" despite the fact that he said he was always going to save her. But then when Kissinger and the others come in, and she's like, Mr. Kissinger, Ethan Hunt tells me that you're someone who can be trusted. Oh, really? Yes, he said you'd give me a choice, and I choose to accept.
Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun, dun,
dun,
dun.
dun, dun.
Dramatic monologue. Ethan Hunt, you lead all these people to their deaths. What is your cost of friendship? We'll find out in the next Mission Impossible movie.
And I'm like, oh yeah, they did talk about literally him saying you will get taken into custody and do that. So yes, I guess it is all part of the plan. Because I had forgotten about that with all the life or death shit going on. I was like, yeah, no, the plot, you dying was not part of the plan. What are you talking about? Were you just planning to die and not telling him? But yeah, she lives and she'll be around for the next movie to betray us, maybe.
Maybe if our vibe dar is accurate.
Yeah. But that was Mission Impossible 6 Dead Rec or 7 Dead Reckoning Part 1. Because Part 2's coming out soon.
Yeah, naturally it would be Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 and not Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning.
That's so stupid. That's so stupid. Not even the fact that they call it the Final Reckoning. Maybe it's the last Mission Impossible movie. Cool. But don't name the first one Dead Reckoning Part 1. We kind of touched on it off recording, but you give away the fact that they don't succeed at the end, or at least not fully,
Yep.
for no reason.
Yeah, I think at some point here in season 4, we're just going to need to do a Mission Impossible takeover where we barrel through 1 through 5 and get us primed for number
For the
8.
release of Part 8.
Yeah.
I
Well,
like
I
that
think
idea.
8 will already be in theaters and come and gone by that point, probably
Fair.
because it's going to take us 5 weeks at least from whenever we start it. If we start it next week, I know we got an award season coming up here, and we got some special things lined up that we're trying to work through.
Yeah,
So maybe after all that's done, we'll we'll maybe hit a really hard Mission Impossible session
I like
and
it.
get the entire canon cleaned out before the release of the final,
Yeah, like on
or
streaming
before
services.
our before we
The release
watch.
on streaming
Right.
services. Um, but yeah, I like that idea. So, but yeah, I did enjoy the movie. Did enjoy the plot, obviously. The acting was well enough. Nobody really stood out in a terrible sense. I mentioned the scenes I did like. Um, Ethan Hunt, I get why Mission Impossible is popular. I feel like the character Ethan Hunt, his pop culture references, while people reference moments from Mission Impossible, they don't really mention Ethan Hunt, the character. Like your John Wick, like it helps that the movies are named after the man, but John Wick is a character that you say the name, you know what he is and you're like, oh, that's John Wick. Ethan Hunt is the John Wick of his own universe, as far as I can tell. And no one really talks about him in like a similar light. We need to talk about Ethan Hunt. That dude's the truth. Dude's ridiculous. Do I think Ethan Hunt beats John Wick in a fight? Probably not. John Wick's damn near immortal.
So is Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt's got 7 movies to be immortal. John Wick only has what, 3, 4?
Also feel like we're not gonna have this conversation because I don't have enough education to really make the arguments in this. At least when it comes to the Ethan Hunt side. But I could see some stuff from the other movies that develop like that. That said, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Good movie. And next week, I guess speaking of the awards thing, pretty much we wrapped up about I'm pretty sure we're just about wrapped up on the year, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're ready to hit it.
All right. So we got our annual for the third time, TGHS TGHS Awards, where we're going to go over the movies we watched this past year, talk about some of our favorites or least favorites and things of that nature. If you want to see some of those movies before we do so, go right ahead. We got the whole playlist of all 3 years that we've been doing this on this channel, and we keep doing it on Tuesdays. Oh, they also have the show on Mondays, Mock Draft, where we draft various things and talk about stuff like that, including a lot of stuff involving wrestling. On Saturdays, we have You Don't Watch Sports, two guys, three topics, help you sprinkle a little information to your casual sports conversation, be your guiding light through the sea that is casual sports talk. Whenever it happens, whatever we want will return. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at GeoTavi. That is GIOGTAVI. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240. You know what that means. Bill, you got anything else you want to say to the folks? All right. We'll see you next week. Adiosness.